Well, good evening, everybody. This is Katie from Vintage and Vinyl, and I am so thrilled that all of you are joining me for another apartment tour. It is really exciting that I get to do this live. I kind of thought about it after I posted my initial apartment video, and there were so many questions and things people wanted to know, and items I didn't get a chance to show in the video, otherwise it would be enormously long. And I thought, you know what, let's go live, let's do a little tour and let people ask questions live in the chat and get to look at items they didn't see in my initial video. So that's what we are doing today. So I'm very excited about that. We're going to open up some friend mail to start, and we are just going to hang out and have a good time tonight. I see several folks in the chat. Bree Gia is here. Hello, Bree. Welcome, welcome. Desert Gal is here. Hello, hello. We have, the chat jumped. Sahara 2, welcome, welcome. Lenny, I just invoiced you for that fabulous moose brooch you got. Tiger, hello, hello, welcome, welcome. Jerry's Flea Market Treasures is here. Hello, hello. We've got Vinny tuning in. Vinny, your whatnot sale was excellent. You had such wonderful things. Hello, Logan. We're so glad you are here. Welcome, welcome. Let's see who's tuning in. Sally. Hello, Sally. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. Desert Gal Curious. My alarm for the show was going off. Okay, let's see. We should be back up and running. Hello, Delbert. Welcome, welcome. Sharon is here. Hello, Sharon. I'm glad you're here. Yvonne. Hello, hello. Let's see. Monica is in the chat. Welcome, Monica. Hello, Debbie. I see several folks in from my from my YouTube sale with Soulmate, and I want to thank you all for coming back to this live. If you just are getting an invoice from me, do not panic. It wasn't that anyone didn't send their information. I've been dealing with migraines all week, and I have not felt well. This is the first day that I feel more like myself than I have since Sunday, so I am just now invoicing everybody from the sale. Thank you all for your patience, but just know that everything has been packed, invoiced, and it's ready to head to the post office tomorrow whenever the invoice does get paid. So thank you all for your patience with that, and now get on to some more fun things. That was just a little housekeeping I wanted to announce. Pam is here. Hello, Pam. Welcome, welcome. Hello, Not Lost, just wondering. Welcome, welcome. Sis is here. Hello, hello. Nancy McMullen. Hi, welcome. Val is here as well. Hello, Val. Glad you're tuning in. Ooh, Nate's here from New Zealand. Hi, Nate. LaDonna is here. Hello, hello. Yes, headaches are the worst. I don't wish them on anyone. Jeanette Nance is here. Hello. Christy Allen is tuning in. Welcome, welcome. I am so glad you have Monica. It's going to be really, really fun. Okay, I think I am caught up with everyone, but if I missed your name, I am so sorry. I am doing this on my phone, and I am not used to streaming from my phone. Hello, Kara. Kitschy Corner is here. Heather, Antique Agenda, welcome, welcome. Robin Cormier is tuning in. Hello. Oh, so many wonderful folks in the chat. Cheryl Cornett, hello, hello. I am glad all of you are tuning in tonight. This is going to be so much fun. I wanted to start out before we hit the tour with just a little bit of friend mail, because I think this will kind of pertain to the tour. I got these fabulous things in the mail from some friends, and I wanted to share them with you. The first being a total surprise from Heather, Antique Agenda. Catherine Young bought this off of her YouTube live sale and sent this to me, and it was just like the perfect thing this week, because I had been feeling so crummy that I was really excited when I opened this yesterday. So this came from Heather, Antique Agenda. She does some fabulous research shows on Monday with Angela VOA Quest, and she also does her own YouTube sales, so do check her out. The first thing that came in this adorable little box was this Florida postcard, and look at all the little vintage cars. I just love this so much. It's from Pensacola, Florida. Now, the neat thing about this is I was just mentioning in my brooch sale on Saturday that, I got to get another postcard, because I always use them to display brooches and show how you can do many things with brooches other than just wear them. and I was looking for a new postcard, and suddenly this super cool one arrived. So yay, that's exciting. And then I got this incredible box, you guys. Now, if you've never received anything from Heather, she does a fabulous job wrapping things up. So I got this really nice gift box. It was all wrapped up. It had her logo on it and this beautiful ribbon, which I have since taken off. And she put all of this, what I call gibbles, down in the bottom. I love a gibble. If you follow Pam, you know about the gibbles. And they're really paper shreds, but we like to call them gibbles. And then this little jar arrived, and it was a mystery jar. And oh my gosh, you guys, it is so stinking adorable. And I thought that as we kind of do the apartment tour, if you guys are watching and following along, you guys say, hey, I think that would look really good there. Let me know, because we've done some decorating before, and now that I have these two treasures, they need a place to go. So let me show you the jar, and I'm emptying the jar because I had it filled with all this neat stuff. But Catherine sent over this from Heather, and it's this adorable little clock mayonnaise jar, which is so cool. I told Catherine yesterday, I have been redoing my kitchen, sort of, kind of. The tops of my cabinets just never really have gotten the treatment that they deserve, and it's such a cool place to display things. So I've redone the tops of my cabinets completely, and this is like the perfect thing because I'm kind of going more food related with tins and so forth, cool advertising that's kind of kitchen-y. So I thought, oh, this is fun. So I got this adorable little talcum powder tin for men. And then this is cool. This is a old fireworks box for Essex brand black python snakes, which is really cool. So apparently you light these and they will produce a black python snake over 3 feet long. Well, that's the coolest little box of like kids fireworks. So I thought that was so fun. And then I got this neat little bottle that was in here. These Gillette shaving blades. I mean, this thing is chock-a-block full. Look at this neat little tin. I think for the Red Cross, American Red Cross, little tin of gauze. There's, oh, this is so cool. This is a little watchmaker's tin. I collect these and I love these. Look how adorable this is. And they all fit in this little jar here. This is little old acetaminophen tin, little aspirin tin. I love the green and yellow colors. Then there's this cute little lot. I mean, this thing, I'm telling y'all, is just full of stuff. Look at all these little dice, and I love dice. I collect dice. I'll show you my dice gumball machine in just a minute. Yes, you heard that right. I have a dice gumball machine. All these little bottle caps. Oh, I mean, Diet 7-Up. Have you ever heard of such a thing? I had not. Pepsi. It's Pepsi, but I'll allow it to slide because it came from Catherine and Heather. We've got, I don't know what this is. Nudge grape? New grape? I've never heard of new grape. I don't know what soda this is. Some sort of a grape soda. And then, of course, good old root beer, which made me smile because my grandfather used to take me to Cracker Barrel when he'd come down to visit in the summer, and he would let me get one of those root beers that were in the glass bottles. Oh, I thought that was so fancy and cool as a kid. I loved it. So, Grandpa, I always think of you when I see root beer. And then this is cool. Ideal split shot. Take a boy fishing today. So probably little fishing weights or hooks, something like that came in here. And this tin is just full. I mean, and the lid is perfectly rusty crusty. I mean, this is just me in a nutshell. So I love this. So maybe we'll find a place for that today as we're touring around. So that's one of the things I wanted to show you. You saw a typewriter ribbon tin today at the antique store and thought of you. Aw, thanks, Tiger. Yes, let's see here. Yeah, I love that. So then I've got just a couple of other things I wanted to share with you. I got this adorable tin as a little gift from Cindy, Mimi's Treasure Cottage. It is the coolest Art Deco graphics. It's a typewriter ribbon tin. Speaking of typewriter ribbon tins, Tiger. And she filled it with little miniature dice. So we get to put that in my dice gumball machine. I'm so excited. And then these little items came in from a sweet viewer, in the chat. I wonder if she's here tonight. I'm sure she won't mind. Hi, Beth. Welcome, welcome. I put it together knowing it was going to Katie, but you didn't take out. That's okay, Heather. I love that the Pepsi's in there. It made me smile. I had to make a little joke about that. This came from Mimi's Treasure Shop. And look, she's from Kansas, so she sent this adorable little Kansas card. And it says, Katie, while I was thrifting, I spotted these coasters and immediately thought of you. This is just a small token of appreciation for all you do to conduct the Brooch and Jewelry live sales on Saturday night. I really look forward to the Brooch sale every week as it is my highlight of my Saturdays. Mimi's Treasure Shop. Thank you so much for that lovely card. Oh my gosh, that just made my week too, because I've not had the best week. But what she sent over was these amazing coasters. And you know, I love coasters, especially with my antique furniture. So she sent over these adorable little record coasters. And I think, y'all, I was talking to Nate about this. I think they're made from real records. This is a Columbia 6i label, and you can see kind of how they were cut on the edge. So I think these are real, like, records that have been made into coasters, which is just the coolest thing. So I'm excited to use these. I actually need a couple of coasters in my office, so this is where these guys are going. And then a couple of other quick things before we get started is I got this really cool firecracker box from Pam, and she sent over a few other little tins. I got these in a lot from her. Look at the cod liver oil. That's fun. But what I really love is this Buckeye Shopping Center, Cleveland for Ohio. So we know it's before 1963, little Art Deco box. I want to put my hat feathers in here. I need something for my hat feathers. I always have replacement feathers because if you don't know, I have a pug and Louie eats them. She pulls them right out of my hat. She gets on the back of the couch and just comes by and goes whoop, and they're gone. So I need replacement feathers, and I'm constantly going through them. So the little box is helpful for that. Yes. You have a dice collection too. I love them. I know. I'm obsessed with dice. It's my new thing. After going to the Office of Collecting, oh, hey, Mom. After going to the Office of Collecting Museum in Las Vegas with Gabby, I have become a dice crazy, I tell you. I've never met anyone who has taken cod liver oil. I've heard that it's awful, so it doesn't sound good. Hey, Susan, I'm so glad you're here. Welcome, welcome. Okay, and then the last thing I'm going to show you before we get started on the tour is this fabulous thing that I found in an estate sale, and it does not have a home yet. So your job today, folks, while I'm touring you around, is to get your wheels turning, get creative, and say, oh, I think this would look really good here. I have not found the perfect spot for it yet. But what I did pick up, and this is why garages are so absolutely magnificent, is this wet. Everything's fine. The tin just tipped over. This fabulous Weatherhead container. Look at it. It's magnificent. The drawers all open up. They were full, by the way, of bolts and screws. I could barely lift this thing. I had to empty it out. In fact, I don't even know some of the drawers that still have things. I'm not sure I could get it out. They're kind of dirty, so I think this needs to be a little bit more clean at some point because it was sitting in a garage. So what I want to do is take all the drawers out, wipe it all down, and then do something cool with it. I haven't figured out what yet, but yes, I know, right? People, there will be purple for rehoming soon. Purple, Tiger. That's going to be fun. Hey, Melody, welcome, welcome. Melody loves industrial stuff like I do, so I'm so glad she's here. So guys, that's everything I wanted to show you. Just some sweet little friend mail and things that made me smile this week. And now we're going to get on to the tour. Now, I am doing this on a tripod. I was hoping to do this on my new gimbal, but I don't have the right adapter for an iPhone on my gimbal. It only works with my vlogging camera. So I'm going to go as slow and smooth as possible to make this a really great experience for you all. And since you guys came over today, I thought I would light some incense. So I have my enchanted forest going. This is my favorite incense. It's argon, I think argon wood, frankincense, and sandalwood. So it's all of those things together. I love it. I get it from a local metaphysical shop here, and it smells so good. So I always have that going. Okay, now let me turn my camera around. Oop, we don't want to do that. Let's see in the settings, I think. Yep. I'm getting used to doing this on StreamYard here. Okay, back camera. There we go, folks. You're getting to see my light. I'm sorry if that blinded you. Hello, Angela. Thanks. Yes, I have not been feeling very well, but I'm glad to be back to myself. Hello, Maria. Welcome, welcome. Okay, I should be able to see comments while we're doing this. So, guys, if you have any questions about anything, you're curious about seeing something up close, please let me know. Hey, Sandra Smith, my other industrial friend, welcome. I'm glad you're here. So right now we are currently in my living room. This is one of my favorite spots in my apartment because it's filled with some of my favorite things. Well, honestly, everywhere in my apartment I have things that I love. If you saw my little sneak peek reel, you will know that I am a maximalist. I love surrounding myself with treasures that I have collected through different adventures because I think it's so fun to have something that's not just cookie cutter and mundane, but that it tells a story and it's cozy and it's inviting and there's lots of stuff to look at and always keep the eye entertained. So that's kind of how I live. I am a maximalist, but at the same time, I'm kind of a Monica. So I like things super duper organized and clean, which I think works out if you're going to be a maximalist. So this is the first thing I want to share with you all. This is my big wall of desire, as some of my tool friends on Instagram call it. I have collected these signs from, oh gosh, all over the place. eBay, flea markets, local shops. I know some friends on Instagram. Old Tape 61 is one. He's got a fabulous account. His name's Barry. He sold me one of my first hardware signs, and that was this sign right here, this Quality Craft Pliers by a company called Globe Master. I love the little globe. That's one of the things that I love on all types of advertising is things that feature globes. I don't know why. I just love them. I think it reminds me so much of traveling, and I love traveling. I also have this Colorado nail sign. This is pretty hard to come by, these nail signs, because they're cardboard on the back. They are metal on the front, but the cardboard often gets kind of ripped apart. So I love this one, and it's in really nice condition. This is a neat piece I picked up from our local Eco Relics. It came from that lady who had a massive collection of advertising. And we stock Threadwell taps. Now, I have not been able to find any information on this, but I do believe that this is probably from the 40s because I think Threadwell made a lot of things during the war, and this was one of the things that they manufactured was taps. So like taps and dies for making different things. So that's a pretty cool sign. And I'm almost 100% sure this is not a reproduction. There's just no way. It has just the right wear and patina on it, and I love it. I've also got a couple of other things that are kind of prizes in my collection over here. One is this 1940s Tate wire assortment. I love this because the little pieces fold out here. So this is how the wire would have been displayed. And you can see there's copper and galvanized that they offered. And number 20, which is that peg up there, would have held copper wire 45 feet long, which is pretty cool. So I love that. 10 cents each. Can you believe that? That's just crazy. And then I've got, the decimal one that Angela sent me. Hey, Claire, is actually in Louie's room, which I'm not going to show today on the tour, but I will in the future. So Angela, don't fear. I will be showing that at some point. This one is a different decimal chart, but Angela sent me a really cool decimal chart that matches Louie's little room that I have all set up. This is also cool. This is a Columbia Manila rope advertising display piece. These were all like in hardware stores. And this is from the 20s. It is all cardboard, which is just a miracle it survived. and it shows you the different dimensions of rope that you could buy at the time. I'm assuming that this is for boats. I believe manila rope is for boats. It's a type of rope. So that's pretty amazing. And I've got some tape measure displays and things. And this wall just brings me so much joy. I love it. I love this wall. Now to the let's see what side that would be for you guys. To the right of the wall, I've got this little round table. This table came from my mom. I love it. I don't think it's particularly old, but I love the leather on it, and I love how round it is. It's so adorable. And this camera here was my great-grandfather's camera, and I am so thrilled that Grandma still had this. And she also had his glasses. So here's his glasses in the little optometry case. They lived outside of Missouri, St. Louis. So this Green Street optometrist was in Union, Missouri, which is pretty cool. So that's exciting. And then down here, I have one of the first things I ever bought from a YouTube live sale, and I have loved it ever since. I got this from Misty over at Thrifter, Junker, Vintage Hunter. This is a Dean and Barry house paint can. And I bought this when you still had to email. You'd watch the video and you'd email Misty and see if it was still available. So that's how long I've been watching some of you all in the community, is like way before live sales really became live or became a thing. So that's pretty cool. Okay, let me see Kara's question. Let me go back up. I see you. Great question, Kara. To hang the signs, so I just use nails. A lot of these signs have little hooks or places in them where you can just put a tacker, like a tin tacker nail. So a lot of them have that. You can see up here that has tin tackers. Now, some of the heavier signs, I do actually have a gentleman. His name's Bucky. He is fabulous. He hangs all kinds of odd and unusual art around town. He does people's homes, but he also hangs things for some of the big bank buildings downtown. He's built special forklifts to get things in buildings. He recently, I think, just hung a giant, I don't know, he told me it was like over 70 pounds, maybe more, marble sculpture in the air at one of the banks. He hangs all kinds of odd things. But I had him come over and hang some of these things I was afraid might fall on Louis. I mean, I'm pretty handy, but I wanted him to do it correctly. And so he put some of these heavier things, he did use some screws and anchors. But for the most part, just like these small signs that don't weigh a lot, just little nails that you can get at the hardware store is great. And then I'll show you how I hang my Coke tray. So yeah, Bucky's amazing. If I've got something weird, I call him up and I'm like, hey, I need this hung. What do you think? And he's like, oh, that's easy. So he's really great. A couple of things over here that are cool. Let me show you this. So this is actually not an old ladder, but I was at an arts fair with my mom a few years ago, and I saw people carrying out these ladders that other people had made, and I just thought, the display potential on that is too cool. So I went ahead and got myself a ladder someone had made from 2x4s. And I have put all of my little wire spools on it. And I just love these. I think they're fabulous. I also have some oil cans of all kinds here. This Luzol can came from a guy in Canada who I love on Instagram. And if I can remember his account name, I will let you know. He has a podcast, too, that's really interesting. He collects things. He's friends with Lyrics Vintage on Instagram, but I was so thrilled to get that from him. And then I've also got some other fabulous wire spools. Now, a lot of people see these and probably pass them by because they look sort of just industrial and useful and not all that exciting. But some of the graphics on these guys are amazing. And the higher... the more cool the graphic is, the more you can charge for one of these. So next time you're out thrifting or at a yard sale, if you see one of these that has really unusual graphics on them, like this one is Meteor and it's got the little stars, or you've got ones with checkerboards or a little globe, take time to look these up because these can sell for like $80 to $90 a spool, depending on what spool it is. Some of them, like this electric fence wire, doesn't sell for a ton, but they're pretty cool, and I just love how they look on this ladder. It's amazing. And Tiger for you, I also have Tiger chewing tobacco. This is a pretty unusual can. It's all cardboard with metal tops, and I carried that all the way through the airport from Texas. I brought it in round top, and I had to get this back safely, and it's very delicate cardboard. I mean, this thing, you just breathe on it and it will crumble. And I had to talk my way onto the plane with it because, of course, I was one bag over the limit with things, but I couldn't pack this in a suitcase because it was just going to get crushed, and I was scared to death to ship it. So I told the lady how rare this was. It's from the 1800s. I had to have it, and I'm going to carry it on my lap the whole plane ride. And she let me on with it, and I sat with that thing in my lap until I got home all the way to Jacksonville. So that thing had quite a flight home, but it made it, and it's just so fantastic. I've also got a couple of other cool things. This right here, this mirror, is Royal Crown Cola. This was in my grandparents' house out in their garage, and anytime you'd walk through the garage to come in, you'd see this mirror. And of course, after they passed away, Dad was asking, everybody what they wanted. And one of the things that I said I would just be so honored to have is this mirror. And I love it. It is just so fantastic. I do believe this is from the late 40s. And it's an advertising mirror with the thermometer in it, which is just so cool. But it just reminds me of being back at my grandparents' house and that exciting feeling of walking up those stairs in the garage and going into the BB's house and smelling fresh baked cookies or chicken and dumplings or any of the wonderful things she'd make. So that mirror is very, very special to me. I love that. I also have this giant K. Now, this, I believe, came from some sort of movie theater at one point, and it was one of the marquee letters. So I bought that for a charity auction to save a local theater in some other state. I want to say California, maybe. I found it on eBay. It wasn't very expensive. I think I paid $20 for it, but I love it because it's a giant K and it's a marquee letter, which I think is just so cool. And then up here, I love displaying things in odd and unusual places. Most people would see this transom window. Well, I guess this isn't really a transom window because it doesn't open, but it's just a neat window. And most people would see this and think, oh, it's just a window. And I saw it and thought, what can I put up here? Where can I add more wonderful treasures? And this was it. I put this taxi cab sign up here from Pam. She sent me that. I love that. This was Misty's dad's, one of his picks. I got this at the shop when I was up visiting. Beautiful level. I love those old brass levels. I think they're cool. And then I've got an oil can, because I wouldn't be me without an oil can up on a ledge. Hello, Jennifer. Welcome, welcome. I know. I'll tell you another story about that, LaDonna. So this piece over here, this giant propeller, I brought this back from Vegas, and the guy at the TSA check-in line opened my suitcase. Of course it got flagged. I knew it was going to get flagged because I had a bunch of odd stuff in it. And the guy pulls this out and he goes, what is this? Just like that. And I just looked at him dead in the face and I just said, oh, it's a miniature boat propeller. And he goes, all right then, and shuts the suitcase and sends me on my merry way. He looks so confused. And I love that. And I love this. It's fabulous. I also have some other fabulous things. This came from my grandparents. This is neat. This is one of these soda bottles that you press the top down and then the little marble goes down and releases the fizz. And BB had this, my grandmother, forever, in the back room of her house. And every time I would come over, she would get this bottle out and tell me how it worked. And she thought it was really neat. And I guess she had picked this up with my grandfather at probably a flea market or something on one of their travels. And they loved it. And it sat in their home forever. And that was one of the things I told Dad. I just have such fond memories of that bottle. So, of course, it came home here. I also have this parking meter. Now, this has quite the story to it. I loved this parking meter when I saw it in a little thrift shop down in St. Augustine. And I said to the person, how low would the dealer go? Because I know what these go for, and I didn't want to insult the dealer. And she goes, oh, no, I'll call and see. So she called, and I said, by any chance, do you know the story behind it while you've got the dealer on the phone? And she goes, oh, I'll ask him. So she hangs up the phone, and she goes, oh, $50 sound okay? And I thought, oh my gosh, that's a steal. Sure, I'll take it. And then the lady proceeds to tell me this wild story. She said that the guy got it from a lady who backed over it in the 50s in New York City and was terrified the police were going to come after her for hitting this parking meter. So she put it in the back of her son's truck, covered it up, and they've had it forever in their family. So I am the proud owner of a stolen parking meter, apparently from New York City in the 50s. And what I love about it is that when it was hit, it got stuck in the violation position. So I think this is really, really fun. I love this. I also have, this is cool. This is an old spring display. These are kind of harder to come by these days. And it is full of springs. This was in some hardware store somewhere. And I don't know. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. It's full of springs, and it's just fabulous. Hi, Kim. Welcome, welcome. Yes, don't tell that I'm the proud owner of a stolen parking meter, as I literally tell the whole internet. I love that. So this is pretty cool. This bottle crate, Coca-Cola bottle crate, came from my grandparents' neighbor. His dad owned a car dealership, and this was one of the crates they had back in the 40s. The yellow ones are older. And when they moved to Texas, he was asking me if I would want one, and I said absolutely. So actually, I have two of these, and they're pretty cool. This is another prize piece in my apartment, and I don't have it running right now because I'm in the process of figuring out how to fix it. So if anyone knows anything about cuckoo clocks, please email me. But I got this from my grandparents. This was in their home. It cuckooed. It made the most delightful sound. And to me, it just takes me back to being in my grandparents' house. So I wanted this, and I really thought that maybe other people in the family would get it, but I was the one that ended up with it, and I am thrilled. I could not be happier. So the cuckoo clock will be cuckooing once more once I get it all fixed, but I love that. Couple of other things on this wall that I think are cool is I have this pegboard. This is one of the things that Bucky kind of invented. We invented this together. I said, I've got an odd project for you. I need to hang some of my great-grandfather's tools. And he goes, okay, I know what you like. I'll be back. I'm going to the hardware store. About 30 minutes later, he comes back with this fabulous metal pegboard, which I didn't even know they make. And he was like, let's zip tie these to the pegboard and hang them on the wall. And I think they're fabulous. So we put this little layout together. And I love these tools. Now, my great-grandfather's, that would have been my dad's mother's father. He owned a refrigeration and air cooling business in Heron, Illinois. And these were his tools. He was a master inventor of all kinds of things. Dad says he had a apple cooler down in the basement that would keep apples cool at 68 degrees all year round that he built himself. He had all kinds of inventions, like he made a toothpaste roller before they were even popular. He put screens, I mean, it was probably the first like buffet screens in the whole area of Heron, Illinois, to keep, people from sneezing on the food and whatnot. He just was always inventing things, and I love that I have his tools, so that's pretty special to me. I love those. I think they're fabulous. And I also have, I didn't show you this, but this is my tobacco cabinet. For all of you guys that don't know, I have a whole collection of tobacco tins. This is chock-a-block full. This is my latest tin. I have an obsession with English tins, and I have a friend from England. His name's Peter. You can follow him on Instagram, Hud's Curios. And he is always finding the most fabulous tins for me. And I just received this in the mail yesterday. It's Daylight Flake. This is a very rare finger tin. And they're called finger tins because they're kind of shaped like fingers and they're small. And I think that's amazing. But this is probably the prize of all of my tobacco tins. This is a very rare, and I don't say that often, tobacco tin from England. This is sort of the holy grail of collecting, and I got a message from Peter a few months ago that said, I've got something if you're interested in it. And well, when he showed me this, of course, I was super interested. I had to have it because I knew that my chance to ever own one it would kind of be now or never. I get it now or I never see it again. So I got this fabulous piece and I love that. Hignance is such a wonderful brand of English tobacco. This was a real treasure right here. This came out of my grandparents' house. My dad was going through some things in the attic and he pulled down an old container of Dominoes. And he was not interested in the container. He was just like, oh, these are Papa's old Dominoes, and was talking about the Dominoes. And I was freaking out over the tin because, well, this is a very hard to come by possum cigar tin. And I love it. And I was so thrilled to have that. Of course, no one else in the family wanted a rusty old tin. So it found its home in my fabulous cabinet here. This whole cabinet just brings me such joy. I love opening these little tins. This one's a neat one, this Times Square tobacco. I absolutely love this. It's fabulous. That's a pretty hard one to come by. This one is as well, the honeymoon. I love things with moons on them. They're wonderful. And this was also a hard find, and I finally found one. Handmade Globe tobacco. Look at that. Is that not just fantastic? The graphics on it. Oh, I love it. Checker is another hard one. And of course, you can see the condition of mine is, well, terrible. That's why I got it for $5. But one day I will have a perfect condition Checker tin. This one's pretty cool from England, this little volcano tin. And then Peter also found this for me. This is hard to come by, and it is scissors tobacco. So that is really cool. So I've got some ones that I'm really thrilled to have. Oh, and look at this Hignance Golden Butterfly. Is that not just marvelous? Oh, I love them all. They're just so wonderful. Each one has such a cool design. Peter also found this for me, this Half Moon cigarettes, which is hard to come by as well. And I've got a Scotch tape display filled with all kinds of little treasures. I have another half and half. That one's a really cool tin. And just all kinds of little auto parts displays and things. And here I've got needle cartridges for record players. I collect those too. So I've just got all kinds of things. Yes. Hi, Carrie. Oh my gosh, it's so warm here. Oh, let's see. Do I have a Prince Albert can? Actually, I do not. I believe I have sold all of my Prince Albert cans, but if I do find one, I will be sure to let him out of the can. Okay, now I've got some other treasures here, and let me show you these things. The other thing that I love doing in my home, and I never showed this in my initial video, but I love finding these little paper tags for random things. This one's for Dutch Boy paints, and I love putting them on keys on cabinets like this. I think they look fabulous. This 1950s cabinet did not come with this little Victrola placard from the 20s, but I just mounted it on there with a little museum putty. So I love doing things like that because I think it's so fabulous. I did it also over here with the ladder. If you notice, I put another little plaque on there. I don't know, I love those little plaques, and I think they're so neat. Okay, if I've been missing the chat, I am so sorry. Let me see. What else do I have to show you? This is awesome. Now, Blake at Mid-Century Wasted has helped me set up my vinyl setup, and he has done a fabulous job. I went to St. Louis and picked these things up from him. I got a Marantz receiver here, model 2220. And I also got these 1960s university speakers. They sound amazing. I've got it all hooked up to my Fluence turntable, which I love. And I have a collection of different record stores that I love across the country. I have their stickers, of course, on top of my record player, and Jamie's sticker, because I felt that belonged there. And let's see. Oh, fun little fact here. This inspired my name on YouTube. I'm vintage and vinyl, but one of my favorite record stores is in St. Louis, and it's called Vintage Vinyl in the Delmar Loop, and there is their sticker. I also have all of these fabulous things under this TV cabinet. These are really particularly cool because my great grandfather's cousin's husband, Evelyn Nunley's husband, he owned a pharmacy. And these were some of his pharmacy bottles. And my grandfather saved these. I found them in an old box in the garage, getting ready to be donated. And I was like, no, I love them. So they came here. And I just think they're so fabulous. This is one of my favorite bottles because I think it's so unique. It's for Unicap multivitamins, and I love the gold label, but I love the dimples in the lid. I think that's really just so cool. And the flat lid ones are amazing. So these are all original pharmacy bottles. Now I have added this one to it. This was not his, but this is Coca-Cola syrup. Back when this was sold as a medicine. This, I don't believe, has cocaine in it, but it could. And I think that's pretty cool. So Coca-Cola syrup as a medicine for headaches and nausea. I have some other really cool tins down here. If you open this up. Now this piece of furniture is not new. I mean, it's not old. I bought this years ago at World Market when they were running a sale. This was actually a bar cart, but I have turned it into a TV. And it's pretty cool to store some of my lunchbox tobacco tins. These are called lunchbox pails because they look like little lunch boxes. And kids would take their lunches to school in them, while adults would too, after they used the tobacco. So I have some fun ones in here. I've got George Washington. I got that with Pam in Alabama. I have the green turtle, which I got with Alex and Aaron down in Micanopy, or as Aaron says, Macalakalaka. I got this winter cut plug is fabulous. I picked that up in Ohio, Springfield. That came from Dave. Dave is one of my favorite new buddies when I'm at shows where he sets up. He's a friend of George, the Antique Nomads, and I got that from his booth, and he has some incredible advertising. That was a real holy grail find for me. And I also have Fashion Cut Plug. I love this guy's top hat. I mean, isn't he just fabulous? And then anything featuring playing cards is really cool. So this is just sort of my little cabinet of things in here. These are all old, either socket wrenches or they're toolboxes, little parts containers for all kinds of things. This one was my great-grandfather's, and I believe Dad had that in his car when I was growing up. So I love that. I recently got that from Dad, that blue one. And then I have just all kinds of things. I got this in Kentucky at the shed. This came from Jeff's Junk, and it is fabulous. It's for Planet pipe fittings, which I've never seen another one of these cabinets before, and I can't find any information on it. So my guess is that it's fairly hard to come by, but I love that. I try to, Lenny. I try to. I really do. I love those things. This came from the yard sale, and I got this with Cindy, and there's a cool story to this. I don't have the picture printed yet. It is at the printers, but I fell in love with this little display. It is for Blue Crown spark plugs, and in the back, if you turn it around, oh, Louie, I have to laugh. I've been missing a sock for over a month now, and Louie has taken this sock apparently back here and hid it, and now on the tour I'm just finding this Louie sock. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm so sorry. I don't keep socks on the floor, I promise. This little spark plug display is so cool because after I bought this and I came home with it and I really enjoyed displaying it here, I was going through some old photos of my grandmother, and she tells me that I think it was her dad's brother, maybe, they owned or they had property where there was a gas station of some kind. I don't know the whole story. I need to get her to tell me that. But I found a picture of the old gas station, and on the front, lo and behold, there was a photo of the gas station with this exact spark plug display on it from like the 30s. And I was like, holy cow, that is so cool. So I'm having it, it's black and white, the photo, I'm having it mounted, and I want to put it somewhere with this display because I think that is so cool. I know, right? Louie, good job. I am human. I'm not perfect. Yes. Yeah. Good job, Louie. I'll retrieve the sock after the live. I'll remember it's there. This is another cool thing. And hi, Catherine, by the way. I showed your fabulous present earlier at the beginning of the live. I love this cabinet. This was in my great-grandfather's office. He he started a radio station after he got back from the war. The first radio station between Southeast Missouri, in Southeast Missouri. And he started it in his mother's backyard. And 300 people lined the streets just to see the first broadcast, even though they couldn't hear it. They just wanted to be a part of it. And then later, he ended up building a TV and radio building downtown. And it was 13 stories tall, just to prove that he wasn't superstitious. And in this office that he had on the 13th floor was this fabulous cabinet. And when they finally sold the TV and radio station, I guess Grandma took this cabinet out of the office and asked me if I wanted it, thinking that I would put this in my woodworking shop to store parts of all kinds. And immediately I was like, yes, I want this cabinet, but not because I'm going to store parts in it in my woodworking shop, but because it's going in my house. And I love it. I love things with little drawers. And I love that it's got all of the original labels. Grandma started taking these off because she thought she was being helpful. And I was like, no, I want them. So I love that it still has the Oscar C. Hirsch Foundation, tape cassettes, deposit slips, the matrix, the master index, all kinds of little things on this. I love it. It's an old steel master cabinet. It is absolutely fantastic. Now, I store DVDs in here. This is what I have. So I just have them all alphabetized. I've got my incense down in here. My incense lives in this drawer, and it's just really handy for me because I live in a 2-bedroom now apartment, and I can keep all kinds of little things in here, which is great. I love it. I also have these things. Now, these cameras were not family pieces, but I got them from George, and I just love them. I also picked this up recently from Old Tape 61, my buddy Barry, over on Instagram. This is a fairly hard to find ruler display, and I got it at a good deal because it was missing its glass. But I told Barry I don't mind that it's missing its glass because I want to put typewriter tins in it. So I have my typewriter tins in it. Not all of them. If you guys know, I collect typewriter ribbon tins, really all advertising. But I had to put my 3 favorites, my most prized of all the typewriter tins. And this is a really cool tin. It's hi-hat typewriter ribbon, which I love and adore. That's a really hard one to come by. This is also one of my latest acquisitions. It is a 1920s Art Deco, 20s, 30s Art Deco typewriter tin from Hammer Printing and Office. So it's a smaller ribbon company. And then this is pretty cool, this Carter's Planet with the little meteor. I think that's pretty neat. So I love that, and I think this is fabulous. This microphone I bought from a lady. I want to say she was on Instagram. One of my viewers actually sent her my way, which is amazing. They were asking me about some records, and I happened to ask if she had old microphones for sale. And she goes, well, in fact, I do. And I said, well, I am interested. And that's how I ended up finding this fabulous lady who I believe she used this back in college from a radio station that was like a college radio station. And I think she said that they had this since the 50s. So it's a 1950s Shure microphone. And I think it is so cool. Now, she actually had it plugged into her computer and had it running. And I would love to do that. My whole goal with this was actually to use it as my streaming microphone because it would sound so incredibly good. But the adapter doesn't work with Mac computers, apparently only Windows. So here it is in all of its beauty, just sitting here, and I enjoy it every day. I love that. So that's kind of cool. This is one of the neatest pictures I have in my house. This is really special. Dad found this. I don't know how Dad found this, but it must have been in the box of old photographs. This is my grandfather, Papa, the one that I got the clock from, and some of the other things I've showed you. This is him listening to records or picking out records. There's their old stereo cabinet, and I think there's one of those glass swans that we all know and love, and I just thought this was the coolest photo. So when Dad found this, he sent this to me, and of course immediately I had it printed, and it is with my stereo equipment, which I love. So that's pretty cool. And then next to it is a Capitol dance floor dressing container I got from Misty. And this is pretty neat. My mom's mom, my grandmother, who still helps with all the packaging and everything, she was a music major, and this was her pitch pipe. And I remember going to their house as a kid in Missouri and playing with this thing, probably annoying the heck out of my parents, but I loved this, so I thought that was pretty cool. Hey, Cindy, welcome, welcome. Your dog used to put underwear out in the yard. Oh my gosh. Oh, yeah, I know. Finally a Windows advantage, right, Tiger? Oh, be safe, Angela. Please be safe. Hello, Peacock Glass. I'm glad you're tuning in. So that's a pretty cool story. I've got some other neat things. This in color sign. This is amazing. This came from San Marco Theater. If you followed my videos that I did there, it's a little local theater that closed down, unfortunately, after over 75 years of being open. I mean, when I was a kid, I used to go down to the theater and see movies all the time. It was an old Art Deco theater built by the same gentleman that built Florida Theater and Sunray Cinema, which I believe Sunray Cinema was the first cinema to have sound in the whole state of Florida. So that's pretty cool. So he designed and built those theaters. I think he was an architect by the name of Benjamin, if I've got that right. But when the theater closed, I went to see the last movie that they were showing there, which was Love Actually. And I overheard the woman saying, "What are you guys doing with the giant projector?" Because they had a really old projector in the lobby that was just sort of iconic for the theater. And she said, "Oh, we're having an auction. We're having an auction on Tuesday at 9 o'clock. And I kind of went over there, you know, me being me, and I said, "Hey, is anyone welcome to come to this auction?" She goes, "Oh, yeah, anyone can come." Well, I had heard no advertisement, nothing about this auction, but I went. I showed up. I was the only one there besides 4 other people that were from one gaming store in town, and they were buying all kinds of, you know, equipment for hosting, like refrigerators and wine coolers and all that stuff when you'd host like game nights at the store. They weren't wanting all of that stuff. They did not care about the vintage. So I basically showed up, and they weren't having an auction, but it was basically, you know, you take anything you want and ask the owner and he'll give you a price. But you had to remove it all yourself. So I was up on ladders. I was taking exit signs down, unscrewing doorknobs. I mean, it was fabulous. Whole Art Deco treasure trove of just amazing stuff. And everything was cheap, on like $5, $10. And so I asked the guy if he had anything else left from the marquee. Someone had already bought all the marquee letters. And he goes, "Oh, yeah, I think something. I got this for $10, y'all. And it is an old 1960s in the color sign from San Marco Theater. And I just love it. And it's so cool here on my wall. So I love that. I think it's fabulous. So this is sort of the main living room in my apartment. I know. I'm very lucky with that, Tiger. These chairs, most of all my furniture has actually come from my family. These chairs were my mom's, then my grandmother's, and now they're mine, and I love them. I think they're Hinderdon chairs. They're nice chairs, and I love the stripes. This was my great-grandparents' table in their living room, and I just love this Dickadoo paintbrush bath. I got this up in Indiana. It's a fabulous piece of advertising filled with all of the paintbrush baths never used. This is pretty neat. I cherish this because, of course, it was a family heirloom, but it reminds me so much of how innovative people were back in the day. They didn't just throw things away. Things were really well made. And this clock belonged to my great-grandfather's cousin, Evelyn Munley, and she repaired this with some sort of a glue that was blue. The top must have come off and she just fixed it right up. And I think that is the neatest thing. So I love this little clock. It sits here. And then, of course, in the center of the room, try not to make you guys dizzy, I have a giant spool table. This thing is awesome. When I was moving into the building that I currently live, this spool table was on the side of the road. And I was driving by with my best friend, and I said, oh man, what I would give to have one of these because I want to make a table out of it. And she goes, oh, just take it. I said, you can't just take spool tables from the side of the road. No way. You got to ask somebody at the construction site. So she said, get out and ask that guy. And I said, that guy's walking his dog. He doesn't know anything about a spool. But she's like, no, go ask him. So I got to give Chastity credit. She made me get out of the car and asked the guy, and turns out he was the electrical project manager for this building. And he's like, oh yeah, take all of them you want. We don't want them. We don't want to pay to haul them off. And so I came back an hour later with 3 of my friends, and we got this into the car. And I can still see my friend Tyler, bless him. He's in the back seat. Now, I mean, this is not like the safest thing I've ever done in my life, but this wouldn't fit in my car. So we had the trunk open, we rolled it on its side, pushed it into the trunk, wrapped some rope around it, and Tyler sat in the back seat. I mean, I wasn't going far, like maybe just a block down the street, and held the spool in with the rope so that it wouldn't fly out of the car, trying to get this thing home because I hadn't moved yet. And this was just fabulous. I love it. And so I've just put all my little treasures on it. Some of my favorite advertising pieces. This is a really, really early typewriter ribbon tin. Before ribbons were sold on spools, they were sold loose in the 1800s in just boxes like this. Now you imagine changing a spool is so much easier than having to put loose ribbon onto a typewriter that was 1.5 inches in size. That's a huge difference from just the 1/2-inch ribbon spools that they eventually came up with. But these are pretty cool. So these are just little flat boxes that the ribbon was sold loose in. These are made by Remington. I have one in purple copy ink and just regular black ribbon, which is pretty cool. So I love those. These are neat. I picked these up from my buddy Old Tape 61. These came from his little stash, and he was kind enough to let me purchase them. These are kind of holy grails in the tape measure world. This is a red ace tape measure. These often got thrown away because of the little cutouts. Water would get inside and they'd rust. So there's not very many of these 50s tape measures in existence, and there's no information on the company. So I've wanted one of these forever, and finally that came available to me. And then these donut ones are from the 30s. They're made by Lumpkin, and they're shaped like a donut, and they're super hard to come by. So I always joke with Red Tape that I'm in the Red Ace Club, and there's only 4 people that he knows, and he knows a lot of tool collectors on Instagram that have one. So now I'm officially part of the Red Ace Club, which is exciting. And let's see, what else do I have? Oh, these are neat. These are my grandfather's clay marbles. He had these, Papa, the one I showed you with the stereo, these were his marbles. And BB always kept them in this little powder tin, and that's how I got them. There's the big shooter marble. I think they're pretty cool. Yes, everyone does need a partner in crime, which is neat. And then I'll show you one other thing on this table, and we've been on for an hour, and I haven't barely shown you the rest of the apartment. This is pretty neat, this box here. My mom brought this back from Vietnam when she was doing a documentary over there. And what's special about it is not just the box, but when you open it up, let me see, I can show you guys this. These are chess pieces that my mom's dad made. My grandfather, he was master with carpentry and woodworking, and he turned all of these on the lathe when he was just 14 years old. And he started putting weights in the bottom of them to make them heavy. You can see he's carved out some. Someday I'd like to finish this. I also have the checkerboard he was making, And Grandpa was very precise. He always carried a ruler in his pocket, and everything was measured to like 5/8 of an inch. So you can tell, I mean, each one is just so precise and amazing. So this was really special. And when I got this for Christmas, one year my grandmother put this little thing in the package that says, "This is a special gift." And she says that the hint was that it had 32 parts. It's brown and tan, and it's over 70 years old. And I knew what it was after that I was getting Grandpa's type chess set that he made. And I also have a little note from Grandpa. He always had a running joke that I was monkey 2 and he was monkey 1. That was kind of what we called each other when I was just a kid. So he wrote with a pen here that I turned on the lathe. Grandpa taught me how to turn on the lathe, and he wrote this special note. So it just kind of stays in here with the chess pieces, but I love that. I think that's probably one of the most special things in my house. If we ever had a hurricane, that and the clay marbles would be making their way in the car with me. But I'll put all that back together later. But those are very special things, treasures in my house. Let's see. Okay, so let's move out of the living room here. And I'll show you, this is my little hallway. There's my office here. I'll show you my office. This is fun. I love putting little things in the door like this. I got this at a flea market for $1. Alex actually found that for me. And then I got this from a salvage yard here. I have many of these around my house. So this is my little hallway. My kitchen's over here. And this is fabulous. This is a sewing machine that belonged to my great-grandmother, Esther. That's Esther right there. And she was probably, I don't know, 20, 30 years old, something like that. And she was a master quilter. She would have all these quilting parties, and after they were over, she was so polite. She didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but after they were over, she'd go back and fix all the stitches that were wrong. She loved quilting. And this was her sewing machine, and the drawers are full just as she left them. I have not done anything to the drawers. They are just full of all kinds of tins, little secrets tins, thread, threader things. I mean, it's just full of all kinds of little buttons and yarn, and all that stuff is just full, which is cool. And this is my grandmother here, Beverly, the one that helps with all the beautiful ribbons and packaging. And I've got some really neat Art Deco bottles and just some cool things. These keys are neat. I've collected keys ever since I was a little girl. In fact, I'd go to the antique mall that I shop at now for brooches. They remember me when I was like 6 years old coming in asking for skeleton keys. I loved them. And I was so excited because I got these keys from Grandma. And these were Esther's house keys, my great-grandmother's house keys. These were the keys, I guess, that opened her house in St. Charles. And I have these special keys. This belonged to Gentry, my great-great-grandfather. And Clock, we are related to the Clocks. I don't know how. I have to ask Dad, but that is also their set of keys. So I've just collected all kinds of little keys over the years, but those are the most special on this display. I also have somewhere a folding skeleton key. If you've never seen one of those are pretty cool. And here it is. It just folds up and sticks in your pocket. I can't do this one-handed because this is a little rusty, but it folds up. So people wouldn't know it was a key. They thought it was a knife, but in reality, it was your house key. So it was kind of a special way to keep keys in your pocket safe back in the day. That's the story I've always heard about them. Here is my kitchen. I'll show you my office in just a minute. This is what I was talking about earlier in the live. I've been redoing the tops of my cabinets. So here's kind of the tops of my cabinets. This is my collection of Spaceman bottles. I love the Galaxy Home Syrup bottles. I think they're fabulous. And I have the whole collection now. I've got some honey canisters. I've just got all kinds of little things up here that I love. I'm waiting for one more tin. Haven't found it yet, but when it comes, it's going to be perfect. It's going to go right there. I've got my old French apothecary scale here, which I love. You guys helped me decorate this in a live. It's amazing. It's so amazing. I love this. Now, this is also quite a treasure over here in my kitchen. This was my great, great, great grandfather. I want to say Blaylock, but then that doesn't sound right to me. I'm just learning sort of more of my dad's side of the family history. But he had a general store, and this came from the general store, and it was a penny candy scale. And Dad says it's been painted gold. It was green originally, but I just love this. This was always in Dad's kitchen with fruit in it growing up. And Dad gave this to me recently, and I just am so beyond honored to have that. I think that is so cool. I also have my great grandmother's brothers. They owned a truck line. That's my dad's mother's side of the family. They owned a truck line called the Bonifield Brothers, and this is one of their milk glass advertising mugs. I also have a Bonifield Brothers magnet that was always on my grandmother's fridge. This is my refrigerator. And I also have a Bonifield Brothers tape measure. And of course, I wanted that for my tape measure jar. So there that is, very special. This was my grandfather's tape measure, the one that did all that precise measuring, who had the beautiful, beautiful carved chest set pieces. That was his tape measure. And this is a fabulous little Planters peanut jar that I found in my grandparents' basement. My great-grandfather's cousin, Evelyn Nunley, who had her husband owned the pharmacy, and I have those bottles from, this was always in their kitchen, and I think it came from the pharmacy. It was like a store display for Planters peanuts, and I remember sitting in the basement unboxing this with my mom, and my mom, who's more into beautiful Italian pottery and glass and that kind of thing, saw this and was like, oh, well, I don't think anyone's interested in this. And I'm like, wait, I gotta see what that is. It's got a peanut finial. I love it. And my mom's like, oh, okay. What are you gonna do with this? And I'm like, fill it with tape measures. I remember sitting, and it kind of excited Mom because she didn't initially see how cool it was until I kind of put some life into it. So way to go, Mom, for saving the Planters peanut jar, because I liked it. And I love it. It's here. It's fabulous. One other thing I'll show you in the kitchen that's kind of special to me is this is just fun. My grandparents, my dad's parents, had this in their house, and it says, mother-in-laws are like seeds. You don't need them, but they come with the tomato. And I think BB's mom had given this to Pawpaw when they first got married, and every time I go over there and bake Scotch bread in the kitchen with BB or cook dumplings or any of her wonderful dishes, BB would tell me about this plaque that was in their kitchen, and of course I was so sentimental about it that I'm glad to have it now. So it's in my kitchen, and I love that. I also have this. This is my other Coke wall. You guys usually see the Coke trays, but this is my fabulous Coke wall of things that I've collected. My dad, for my birthday, got me this fabulous PM clock. It is missing its glass, but it is just spectacular, and I love it. It does work, but I don't have an outlet up there yet to plug it in. This is kind of neat. I got this from a guy on eBay. It is a 1933 original Coca-Cola watermelon sign. It's in fairly rough shape, but I love it. And these Coke signs are just becoming so expensive these days. And I was looking for one. I really wanted one, and I found one at a good price. It was $55. And I thought something's really sketchy about that. You know, either this comes and it's a complete fake, or it's legit and the guy just doesn't know what he has. So I messaged him and I'm like, hey, can you show me some more up close pictures and the markings? Like I want to see. And he goes, oh no, these are legit. And I thought, that seems kind of sketchy. But it turns out his neighbor's barn washed away, and these were some of the signs that they found inside the barn walls, because people use these for insulation. And I immediately sent pictures to one of my sign friends here in town, Ron Berryman, who I love. He's really great. He has a booth at Avonlea where I shop, and he confirmed that it was legit, as he deals in Coca-Cola advertising, and I bought it, and here it is. I got a killer deal on it. My barn watermelon sign. I love that. This is my entryway when you come into my house, and yes, I have a note that says clock. Why do I have a note that says clock? Well, when I get this clock working, it reminds me to wind the clock. Otherwise, I will forget and the weights will be on the floor. That's why I have the note clock. This is some of my little fabulous treasures on this wall here. I got this with Cindy on the yard sale. It's just an old Dorman parts drawer filled with parts of all kinds. I love it. And this is pretty cool. This came, I'm assuming, out of some sort of hardware store or factory back in the 50s. And it is filled out with inventory control. So it's an inventory log, and a lot of the logs are actually filled out. The drawers pull out like this, and they kind of like hang down. And you can see at one point, I think there was a fire. This probably had a fire happen to it, because you can see that it's all black. But I love that. And it's full. All the logs are full, which is pretty neat. Some of them say bolts and screws, and it's made by the Acme Corporation. And they're all just little filing drawers, and it's kind of perfect right when you walk through the door. Oh, this is neat. Okay, I got this from a person in St. Augustine. They were making these. This light came off of a Cold War era ship, and they made it into a light. I don't have an extension cord yet long enough to plug it in, but that's pretty cool. And let's see. Oh, okay. I got that New York license plate at Old Good Things in New York City, which is one of my favorite architectural salvage stores. It is a TMT license plate for TMT tax, which is basically for all large vehicles that have to, carry things around the city commercially. So it's a commercialized license plate, which is pretty cool. So I got that, and I also got this 1947 plate off of a circuit breaker panel. I love these plates. I think they're so interesting. There's such beauty in all of them. Even this copper Otis elevator panel from, I think this is from the 30s. I mean, isn't that beautiful? You can't tell me that's not just stunning. I love it. I love it. Okay. I know. I am so lucky to have such good family history here, folks. I really am. So this is my living room. I think I've given you a grand in-depth tour of my living room. I'll show you my office. Now, I was just packing today, so my office is a little crazy pants. But this is my office. I have my records in here, which is fabulous. I've got my typewriter tins now hanging on my old ceiling tile. I think that came out of a house in Savannah. I have a little small TV in here so I can watch TV while I'm packing or live sales. I also use this if I've got guests and I want to set up a cot in here. They've got a little TV. I've got my 3/4 inch size barrister bookcase that I got with Cindy, Mimi's Treasure Cottage, when she was here visiting, and it's just filled with treasures that are eventually going to be for sale, except for the top shelf things here are sort of treasures of mine. These are, this photo here is of my great-grandparents. The one that started the radio stations right here, that's Oscar and Anna, who I was named after, Anna Geraldine. So I've got them there, always stay in my office. And this is pretty cool. I think this is cool anyway. You guys may not. But this is probably my favorite thing in my office. Well, I have many favorite things. But this was my great-grandfather's cousin, Evelyn, the one that owned, or her husband owned the pharmacy. This was her dad's desk. So this is well over 100 and something years old. He was a doctor. He wrote prescriptions on this, which I think is just like so cool. And I've had this in my room since I was a little girl. I loved playing with it because it had cubbies and compartments, and kids being imaginative always have fun with those things. But I just store my reference books underneath. It's got a little bookcase, and I have filled it with all of my favorite things. And I just love it. This is Katie and her camera. If you guys remember, I read that book on my channel. I've got a little book on secretarial office practices from like the 30s. I love that. And I just think it's so cool. This is Evelyn here, Evelyn and my mom. I really try to put photos of family with things that belong to them, if that makes sense, because I like having that around my home. I think that makes that extra special. I pulled this out of the theater, San Marco Theater, and oh, here's my grandfather I told you about. That's a really cool photo of him with the cars in the back. And there's my great grandmother, Anna, who's the painter and the world traveler who I was named after. I love having her in my office. And then my great grandfather, my grandmother's dad, who had the glasses, this is him right here, George. So he sits by my printing station. And this is my lockers. I got these at Eco Relics years ago. And in my other apartment, they were my pantry storage because I had no pantry storage. So I used this for food. And now I use it for games, reference books, packing materials, that kind of thing. And I've got my little treasures up here. This angel is kind of out of character for the things that I normally add to my apartment. But my sweet elderly neighbor, Maybelle, who you guys know and love, gave this to me, and it's one of her prized possessions. She loves angels. And I thought, okay, I've got to find a place to put this because it means the world to her that I have it. And so I put it in here so that the angel can watch over me while I am doing my live sales. And I thought that was really special. So, Maybelle, I've got your angel here. And let's see what else. Oh, here's my Coke wall. This is where I do live sales from. I have all my packing supplies over here. Oh gosh, a variety of all kinds of things. My little tape dispensers, sticker rolls are all in this cart. I have records that I'm going to do a live haul with that came from Blake. I've got my thank you cards. I have, all kinds of things. My jewelry displays are in here. I love containers. I think they're fabulous. Particularly old boxes like this just make me happy. And I've got all my little packing supplies. I've got boxes, bubble wrap, cello bags, just all kinds of things. And my little carts. I have 2 carts on either side of me, which this is how I do my sales. A little behind the scenes here. I got my Coke trays. I've got, this is neat. This was a barrister bookcase that my dad's parents had, BB and Papa, in their office, and I have it now. This is them on their wedding day. I love that photo. This is BB and Papa here. That's Papa's parents. That's Papa B, the one that had the hat that I wear. And then this is my grandmother's parents, my great-grandparents. He's the one that had the tools. So he owned the refrigeration business, which is pretty cool. And then these, I think these are clocks. I think they're the clocks. Now, the clocks somehow are related to us. Here's a little clock mug, or etched piece. But anyway, that's just kind of neat. This was my grandparents' wedding topper. And more photos of, that's Papa B in the hat that I have, and his dad and my dad when he was young. And Aunt Sue, my aunt, and my grandmother, BB, and Papa B. So fabulous photos. There's some letters that my grandparents wrote from their honeymoon, I believe, to Papa B, in their little wedding napkin. I've just framed those up. There's Roger the ephemera cow, for all of you guys that know about him. So this is my office. And I love this. I think this is so neat. It's cozy and it's homey and it's just the perfect space for me. But it is small, so everything I do in here, I like selling brooches because they're small. They don't take up a lot of room, and they're great for this. Okay, let's see what comments. I've been missing all of your comments. Oh, thank you so much. The magical cot. Well, there is room. I just scooped this table. This was my grandparents' dining table, which I love. I'm so glad I have that. That's where I do my live sales from. And it's on wheels. So this just scoots back and a little cot fits right in here, which is awesome. But guys, we are wrapping up the end of the tour. I'm going to show you my room, and then this will be it. This is Louie's room. I won't show you guys this today. It's honestly a hot mess because I've just come back from estate sales. This table here is pretty neat. This was my great-grandmother's sister's table, Marjorie Thompson. There she is here. And I've just got all kinds of little treasures on it. Another little typewriter tin that I love with the globe on it. I've got some cool little advertising rulers, just all kinds of things. I think they're fun. And my coffee pods and my tea live here in these little copper canisters. And you know what? I say find a canister, find a vintage item, find a container that brings you joy, and put things in it that you use every day. And just enjoy opening it. This little display here is practical because my laundry pods live in here. And yes, I just love opening this little Fostoria crown dish to get out my laundry pods. It brings me joy. So I hope that inspires you and brings you some joy. Let's see. Okay, let's see here. This is my bedroom, filled with all kinds of treasures. Let me show you this first. And this is one of the things that Bucky recently had the challenge of hanging on the wall, but he got these two pieces on the wall. This was my dad's. He had a barber chair, still has a barber chair, and this came with the barber chair. And I don't think I'm tall enough to show you, but you can kind of see, well, yeah, you can see here. These are the cigarette burns from where the barbers would leave their cigarettes up on top of this cabinet as they were cutting hair, which I think is just amazing and incredible. This piece came from Misty's shop. Her dad had this. And it's just filled with some of my favorite things that I got in Springfield and on my trip. And here's more little tags. I love these. This is an old baggage tag, airline claim tag for New York City. And so it just sits on this little door. I love these things. This is neat. This came from an architectural salvage yard here, but they got it back in 1980 when they tore down the old Firestone building downtown, Firestone Tires. And this was the emblem that came off the side of the building, and they've had it for years and never sold. I guess people didn't know what to do with it. And well, I found just the perfect spot for it. So it lives in my bedroom. I've got, all kinds of watercolor tins. I love the graphics on these, and I've got them in an old Rand McNally map display, which is pretty cool. These two cabinets, you will not believe. I found this one here, and then, I'd say like 4 or 5 months later, I was up at the Brass Bear with Pam, and I found the matching one for like $10, and Pam was like, you got to get it. So I have both of them now, and they match, and I love them. Even though the lamps don't match, I think they're just fabulous like that. I built this headboard out of pallets. So this is one of my creations. I do woodworking kind of as a little hobby, and I love it. And I built that myself. This came from Pam's house. This was an old airline propeller from World War II that she had hanging up in her house, and she so kindly gifted it to me. She had not been using it for a while, and it is now hanging up above my bed, which was another challenge that Bucky figured out for me. Actually, Pam's dad had made a special bolt he had created to hang it up, and Bucky said it was one of the best pieces of hardware he had ever seen made custom for something like this. So Pam's dad did a wonderful job getting this ready to be mounted, but I love it. Of course, when I said I was going to hang it up on the bedroom, Angela was like, please don't let that fall on your head. My little group of Instagram friends were like, no, that's going to fall down. And I'm like, not if Bucky hangs it. And it's still here several months. Well, several years, a year later, maybe. I don't know. It hasn't fallen down. It's nice and secure. Bucky could hang off of that, he said, and it wouldn't come down. Let's see what else is here. Oh, here's my gumball jar. This is my gumball machine. I don't think this one's old. I think this is newer. The stand's definitely old, but this is newer, and I've started filling it with Bakelite dice. So this is my gumball jar. And this was Marjorie Thompson. No, this was Evelyn Nunley's, my great-grandfather's cousin. This was her dressing table, and it is filled with Swatch watches in here, but these were glove boxes, so initially you could put gloves in there. Nate, Soul Nate from New Zealand, he's the one that got me into stones. Not that I need another collection, but he's got me into these rutilated quartzes. So they're quartzes that have little bits of rutile in them, which are like golden strands. And they are amazing. And my mom recently went to Denver and she found a piece of raw rutile for me. So that's very, very special. So I love these. So my little stones over here. And oh, this bookcase is amazing. My grandfather built this back in the 40s, and I now have it, which is just amazing. And I love it. It's filled with all kinds of treasures. This was my grandmother's school bell, BB. She taught school. This was her school bell. And this was always in their house, this little perfume bottle. So I picked that up from BB's house. And these are neat. Gabby, if you're here, I'm sorry I have so many of these. I might send you some. But these are Bakelite dice blanks. So these were never used. They were just, ready to be used at the factory, and no one ever put any numbers on them, which is really cool. So I recently came into a whole bunch of these from a buddy of mine. Here's some black ones, green ones, let's see, red ones, brown ones, from Avonlea, one of my favorite antique malls. My buddy Richie over there hooked me up with these. He had a whole bunch of them. So they live in this little bowl. And, I've just filled my home with things that bring me joy. Things I've collected along the way. I got this in Austria, this hand-carved pear. I fell in love with it. And I got that mate cup in Argentina. And I got that at the Telephone Museum in St. Louis, Missouri. And my grandparents every year would give us a bear because we were the Blaylocks and we had the Blaylock family bear. So when they went to Alaska on a cruise, they brought me that bear for Christmas. So that's pretty neat. And all kinds of just treasures of all kinds in here. I love it. This was my great-grandmother's mining light. Oh, and this is cool. I'll show you this. This came off at the top of the Main Street Bridge here in Jacksonville. I got that at a salvage yard. They were the ones that took down the bridge, and so he told me about that. And of course, I just had to have a piece of Jacksonville history. Why not have odds and ends and fun things? This is a neat clock. If anybody knows anything about it, let me know. This is a mystery clock, but this is not by Jefferson. This is by Haddon Mystery Clocks. It's the Golden Visionette. But what's cool is someone has added a trophy to it. So it has a little bird on the back from 1955, which I think is cool. I know. I'm so glad, Carrie. I'm glad you like this. These chairs here with the hand embroidery on them, or needlepoint or cross stitch, I don't know. These were Marjorie Thompson's chairs, my great-grandfather's sisters. Great-grandfather's mother's sister, Marjorie Thompson. So I've got 3 of these chairs. And this is cool. I will show you this. This here is an old watchmaker's cabinet. And this is just so amazing. Every drawer is filled of little watch parts, but these were specifically the glass pieces for the tops of watches. And it's just full of all different sizes, shapes. This is the neatest thing. I found this in here. It's a little Japan 10 shaped like a watch face. And I guess it held mainsprings at one point. I don't know what this is for, but I love that. It's in here. Some of them are not as full as others, but I mean, look at the shapes on these. These are like square and rectangular, and then some are round. I mean, this is a cabinet of pure treasure right here. I've got some tobacco tins. This is a neat little billfold display. It's got a skeleton key on it for McKee billfolds. And then I have this typewriter. Now, I am my Oliver. There's my Oliver. Everyone knows about the Oliver, but this one's cool. It is an Underwood, and I know they're a little easier to find, but this was my great-grandfather's secretary's typewriter, and she won typing competitions on it. She was the fastest typer in the Midwest. And I have this typewriter. My grandfather saved it. I guess he felt it was important. And when I did a school production of Words, 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 I was the director. It's a great play, by the way, by David Ives, if you haven't checked that out, where monkeys learn to type and they write Shakespeare and Kafka and all these, fabulous works of literature. We needed typewriters, and Grandpa bought this down, and it was in the production that I did. So that's pretty cool. And the last thing I think I'll show you on this tour is my wall here above the TV. I've got some fabulous art. And then this is pretty cool. This is the piggy bank that was in my grandparents' room when I was growing up. I'd come visit Bibi and Papa. They lived in Texas, and they had this pig. And my grandfather bought it he was a pastor, and I think he bought it for some sort of church function that turned out not to go very well, but he kept the pig, and I don't know why. It is certainly not my style of things as you see in my home. Ever since I was a kid, I loved the pig, and everybody knew that one day this pig was going to be my pig, and I love him. My dad accidentally named him Taylor. It was a typo in a text message, so he is forever Taylor. And he just sits here, and he is the happiest little pig on the planet, and I love him. So he is Taylor the pig, and he brings me so much joy. I just think of my grandparents and all the wonderful times we had at their house every time I see the pig. And this is cool. This is a fabulous coat display for Miss New Yorker coats. And what I love about it is it's probably from the 30s. Is it's got the Art Deco skyline, and you can see the Empire State Building. I love New York City. And I love all of these fabulous tobacco molds. These were tobacco molds for cut plug tobacco. So they would put the tobacco in it, and there would be another one on top, and they'd pull the stamper down, and then they'd cut it into little sections, and you'd have cut plug tobacco. So that's pretty neat. These plates here were my great-grandmother's. They were hanging above her sofa in their house in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. And I found a photo that happened to have these plates in the background. And I showed them to my hanger guy, Bucky, and I said, can you hang them in the order in which they were hanging above the sofa? And he did. So there was, in Grandma's house, there was a painting, and then they were hung just like this. So I had them kind of recreate the look, not with a painting, but with the plates, and I love that. I think that's really cool. Let's see. This is a piece of art featuring San Marcos. So this was where the old theater was, black and white, panoramic, pretty cool. This was in my grandparents' house, my dad's parents, in their dining room, and I fell in love with it, and it's hanging here. And I got these two pieces in Shakespeare's garden in England. And I think they're marvelous. I had them framed. Big theater nerd here. And I've got just some fabulous printer trays, but this is my room. This is my happy place, my little sanctuary, as I call it. And I love having all these cool vintage treasures in here. Yes. Oh, Carrie. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. I showed the squirrel. I am so sorry. Yes, we still are in my room. Lots of things to see. But this is my house, you guys. This is where I live and where I love being, all my little treasures and collections. I often say when I'm in my office, I'm in my little hobbit hole because I love being in there. And I just love being in my house. I think it's wonderful. So thank you guys so much. Okay, good, Carrie. Carrie's afraid of squirrels. So I didn't want to show her the squirrel. But this was my home, you guys. I hope you got an in-depth tour. Is there anything that someone had a question about they didn't get a chance to see? It's hard for me as I'm talking to monitor the comments. I am so very sorry. I probably did a terrible job monitoring the comments as I just chatter away here because I love sharing these things in my house. And oh, that is really crooked. Okay. Hello, letter artist. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. Oh, I'm so glad. We've been on an hour and 34 minutes, which is crazy. But I hope you guys enjoyed hearing all the stories and the history behind things. I know that I am very, very lucky. I have so many great family pieces. I know not everybody does. I'm just so lucky that my family on both sides save things. And I'm glad I get to enjoy them. And a little funny joke, I'm also glad that my brother is not interested in these things because I get to enjoy them too. Okay. Oh, good. I'm glad, Natalie. And yes, Natalie, my dear friend in the chat, her dad fixed the green lamp that is in my living room. And you can show your dad, Natalie. It's on and it works beautifully, and I love it. Okay, I'm going to show my brooch collection in another video. I'm going to do a whole closet tour. I didn't even take you into my closet. I didn't show you my hats, and that's going to come in another video. Dusting. Oh, dusting is, well, a challenge with any type of collection or really living anywhere where there is dust around old things. There's just dust. And I don't dust. Well, I do dust, but very sporadically because there's no point. I have a pug. She sheds all over the place. So I vacuum every week, and things that I have displayed that are in a closed cabinet, I probably dust about once a month because they're in a closed cabinet. Other surfaces, I just get my vacuum out, and I just, I've got the little duster attachment on it, and I just go over things best I can, but there's really not any point in pulling everything off and individually dusting it because I have Louie. And I know in a couple of days there's going to be pug litter on it. And I do keep my home very clean because I'm somewhat of a Monica. But I just do my best with the little vacuum. You can also get air, compressed air, and dust that way. I've heard that works really well. Let's see. Yeah, maximalists just don't dust. That's right. I did not show the brooch cabinet, but I can quickly if you guys really want to see the brooch cabinet. My closet's getting a makeover. Let's see. I will show you my brooch cabinet. Oh, did you plan out the displays? So sort of, what I love about my home most is that I've just sort of added things. Not everything happened all at one time. A lot of the big art pieces did get hung when I moved, but I love kind of just putting things together and adding them as I go along. So I've just sort of built the collection over time, and my TV wall was almost empty other than my TV. And over the past year or two, I've just started adding things to it. So yes and no to that question. My Coke walls, I knew that when I moved here and I got my second bedroom so I could do my live sales and have sort of an office, which I so desperately needed. I knew I wanted my Coke wall to be behind me, so I kind of had planned that out. I knew that I wanted my records to go in my office because I really didn't want them in my living room because I just have too many of them and they wouldn't work out. I knew I wanted a hardware wall because in my other apartment I had all my hardware displays sort of spread out around the apartment. I still do in some regards. I've got like a tack display in my bedroom, and I've got this imperial sign above my door, and I have things sort of, around the apartment, but I wanted one kind of cohesive wall that was like my main hardware displays. So I did sort of plan that out, but I kind of just add things. And the other thing that I love doing is changing things. I always walk around and I'm like, that looks good there, but what if I move it here? And on my bookcase that I showed you in my bedroom, I am not done with that bookcase. I've had more fun rearranging and moving those shelves around. And when I was sick and kind of stuck in my home during COVID, I had so much fun playing with that bookcase, and I still do because I don't have it perfect yet, and I don't think that's the beauty of it. Nothing's ever perfect. It's just really, really awesome. And then you just keep changing. And it's the creative nature and creative people to want to move things around, I think. So I do, the things that are mounted to the wall obviously stay there, but I love the idea that things can always be shifting and changing and being creative, which is fun. Yes, let's see. The number of holes in my walls. Well, when Bucky came over and hung some more stuff the other day, he said, you know, I don't think you're getting your deposit back when you move. And I said, no, probably not. But that's okay, because I believe that when you live in a space for any length of time, you've got to enjoy it. Who cares what the apartment people say? If you're not enjoying it, you're not really living there. It's not really your home. So I'd rather lose my deposit when I move and, you know, a long time from now, before, you know, not living here for over 5 years and not enjoying my home. That's kind of how I see it. So I just hang stuff, and I like to be surrounded by things that make me happy. So that's what I do. Yes, we have a wonderful Red Hat Society chapter here buying space, Myra, and it is fabulous. My mom does a lot of work with them, and they are some of the most lovely people. So I'm sure you can Google and find the Red Hat Society. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of your kind comments. I really do. I know, and it just takes time, Catherine, to do. But I truly appreciate you guys being here and hanging out with me. I know I had a request for my brooch cabinet, so I will take you back there and show you guys that. I'm not going to show you my whole closet because I'm in the process of redoing that display, but brooch cabinet here, I'll show you. But I think that's everything in my apartment. Ooh, I'm knocking things over here, apparently. Okay, so let me, and did I show you guys this? Because I don't think I did. Let me see. I'm getting used to doing this on the phone here. So my bedroom door, I have different ones around the apartment. My office is drafting room. My bedroom door says rooms and board. And every room has a different little placard on it that I picked up from that salvage yard that I love so much. So I love doing things like that. So just a little fun thing. Doors, small spaces by a door, they're not wasted. Get creative. You can display things there too. It's kind of fun to do that. It's like a challenge. Where can I add something neat? My bathroom door says information, which I just thought was hilarious. I mean, why not? Information, right? You know, you think in the bathroom, so information. There you go. I put that one on my door. A little bit of it. Well, my closet's kind of crazy because I'm in the process of redoing it. This is my bathroom. And let me go into my closet here. Oop. My closet door. All right, we're in my closet. See, I'm redoing the displays up at the top here. So I'm not totally done with all of this. This is coming. There's a sneak peek of my hats, y'all. You're getting my hats. Okay, let me flip you around here. Oop. Back camera. Let's see. All right, here is my brooch cabinet. Yes, for all of you guys that are wondering, there is my brooch cabinet. And I will show you a couple of drawers. I've got my green drawer here, which is fabulous. And I've got them all organized pretty much by color. This one is one of my larger brooches. Check out that big swan. Isn't he amazing? He's magnificent. Okay, ready? Here's my animal and fun drawer. This is all my fun brooches. So my figural brooches. Actually, I have two figural drawers. Okay, here's the blinding drawer. Nate always tells me it's blinding. That is all rhinestones. That is all rhinestones. And check out the size of this one. This one I don't wear a lot because it's so large, but I've got to do something with it. This is like the size of my hand. It's 5 inches. And check out the rivets on the back of this. All 1950s. This thing is huge. Huge. This one's a big white. That one's enormous. My favorite of these is this one. This one's a white. And I just think that is so gorgeous. So I love that. I've got some Kramer in here. It's just a really big cabinet. And, oh, here's my blue drawer. This is all my blue brooches. And here, I love this one. This one right here is really gorgeous. They're all so pretty though. This is my gold drawer, so like all my Trafaris and my Monets and my Park Lanes, they all live in here. I love that Trafari Brutalist right there. I think that's amazing. This is my silver toned drawer in black and white, so I've got some of my silver toned and Brutalist pieces in here. And down here, I haven't filled all the drawers yet, surprisingly. This is my kind of yellow, amber, and orange drawer. But I've got more orange in another drawer, and I don't have that many orange because orange is definitely hard to find. This is my pink drawer. This fabulous brooch Catherine just sent me, and I cannot wait to wear it. I've got the perfect shirt now for it, Catherine. I can't wait to show you how that looks. So I've got that drawer. Let's see, over here I've got more gold toned pieces. Oh, here's my little fun holiday drawer. Christmas, all of that stuff. I've got more fun figural pieces. There's my fruit, my lucite Austrian forbidden fruit brooch. So that's fabulous. And this is 2 layers, so I've got more brooches under that layer. These are all of my grandmother's pins, so anything special from my grandmother is here. This is my first brooch I ever got, was this beautiful Boucher from my grandmother. It was hers in the 50s, and I wore that every day, and then I started wearing other brooches because of that one, and I still wear that one. I got lots of compliments on it. And I think, let's see, is there anything else I haven't shown you? See, these are all empty. These ones down here, I've got lots of space to add more brooches. Actually, what's interesting about this paperwork is this was in here when I the cabinet, so I kept it with it because it kind of tells a story, but they're all empty. Ooh, and this is an old letter file. I got this from Avonlea. It was a steal of a deal, and I love it for my brooches. So this is fabulous. And up here, I have my grandfather's watch, Papa. This was his Mickey watch. He wore this every day when I was growing up, but he got it in the 90s when the church didn't really agree with Disney, and he thought what the church thought about that was wrong. So he wore a Mickey watch and a Mickey tie in protest almost every Sunday to say that he felt that he needed to stand up for what was right in his mind. And I did not know that story until long after he passed away, and I got this watch. So I look at that every day, and I'm reminded of that and Papa and his good values and what he stood for. So I think that's pretty cool. He was definitely for Disney. This is fabulous too. This I got from Pam. This is her prized Park Lane brooch that she sold and I won, and I just think it is amazing. Yeah, so I love that. I wear this when I have it's kind of heavy, so I have to have the right shirt for that. And this is Papa's tie clip. And meet Kevin, everybody. Everybody, this is Kevin. Kevin holds my great-grandfather's advertising 2-minute watch. Yes, we love Kevin. Kevin is here. He is a dresser caddy. He's wonderful. Angela made me this little vintage and vinyl brooch. So it sits up here on my little lucite cube. And these are more rutilated quartzes that, of course, here Nate gets me in all of these stones. So I've got all of these little stones. You might recognize them from Gem City when we had DJ Rhinestone. And I love them. So this is my brooch cabinet. This mirror was my grandfather's mirror above his bed. And these are some things that my grandmother had in her house that I love. So I've got the little sheep, and I think that was my mom's. And then I've got this little hat advertisement, and this is so cute. I got this for boots. So Vans Boot Saver. It's an old boot display, and my rain boots are in it now. Hey, Dana, how are you doing? And I've never shown this on camera, but okay, guys, here we go. I love hats, I love brooches, and yes, I love shoes. I have a shoe obsession, and I've never shown this. My mom keeps saying, I need to show you guys my crazy shoes. So here you go. Since we're in the closet, why not? I have these fun, like sparkly shoes. I've got taxi cab shoes. I have the most fun with shoes. And I never show my feet because I'm on camera and I just show my brooches. But I should start doing a shoe of the day because I love wearing fun shoes. Um, and I've got some really crazy and wild and fun ones that I've collected. And I love my Oxfords. These are fun because they're bright yellow. And who doesn't love a bright yellow penny loafer? So, yeah, I've got fun shoes. Lots and lots of shoes. I'm a little bit shoe obsessed, but that's okay. Everyone can have something that brings them joy. The shoes bring me joy. Oh boy, I am now trying to turn the camera around and you guys are seeing the bottom of my shoes. Okay, there we go. All right, we are back to me. Yes, I know, crazy amounts of shoes. I've been collecting for a long time, but this is my crazy closet. I'll do a more in-depth closet tour and I'll show all my hats and all those fun things at another time. Hello, Lisa. Welcome, welcome. Oh, my closet door has one of these too, and I think it says secretary or accounting or something like that on it. They're so fun. Louie's room. What does Louie's room say? Louie's door says, oh, she's got employees. She's got employees. That's Louie's room. The employees. Yes, I love that. Yes, I do have feet. I promise I have feet. Right now I'm just in socks because I'm at home and I'm cozy. All right, guys. Well, that is everything. Oh my goodness, you guys. What a live. We have been on for almost 2 hours. I really cannot believe that. I had planned to just do an hour and, well, here we go. We've been on 2 hours, which is fun. So thank you guys all so much for tuning in. I'm glad you guys got to see my brooches, my crazy closet, which is in the process of a major reorganization, my living room, all of my family treasures. Again, as I say, I know I'm so lucky to have those. Not everybody does. And I'm thrilled I just get to share them with you and you guys get to hear stories. Even though you don't know these people, I hope that by the end of this live, you feel like you've gotten to know some people in my family that meant a great deal to me. And I'm just thrilled to be surrounded by those things that bring me joy, not only from my family, but things I've picked up with many of you all on my adventures out. And I remember all of those fun shopping excursions with all of my friends here on YouTube, and just when I've gone out junking by myself. So those memories are all wonderful and attached to all of these things. They're not just things, they're beyond things. They're special treasures that really add value to your home. So next time someone tells you that something's just a piece of junk, I would argue with them and say, nope, it's not a piece of junk. It has a purpose and a story and a history and lots of incredible memories attached to it. So things are not just junk. They're really, really cool pieces of art. I love that. So hopefully this inspired you guys in your spaces. You saw kind of how I display things. I'm always changing and adding things. And I love having a lot of rust and a lot of history with things. That's kind of my favorite thing. I love the vintage industrial look. My dream would be to live in a factory. If I could live in an old factory, I would be the happiest person on the planet. But I do love my home here. Louie loves it too. I didn't get Louie out because, as you guys saw if you were watching in the middle of the live, Louie hit a sock in my apartment. Louie likes to eat things, and if I let her out while I was not able to watch her closely, she would destroy everything in the apartment. She would eat things, she would go buck wild, and we don't need to be taking Louie to the ER tonight because she ate something she wasn't supposed to. So I always let Louie out after I'm done with the show so that I can make sure she's not into anything that could hurt her, because I love Louie too much to let that happen. But thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. I hope you guys all will comment down below, share this with your friends. I hope you enjoyed taking a look at my apartment. If you have any questions on like how I hang things, how I display things, feel free to email me. My Coke trays, I use those little round disc hangers from the Flat Iron Disc Company. The rest of the things are really hung by anchors, those metal anchors and nails. I use Velcro to hang all the little door placards on my doors. I just wipe the doors clean with alcohol so that the paint doesn't, if you don't do that, the paint will react with the Velcro and it won't stick. So the alcohol trick works really well, just those little alcohol pads like that they use in hospitals. If you're trying to Velcro anything to the wall, Bucky says that's the thing to do, because the paint nowadays is so modern that it has something in it that reacts with the Velcro. So you got to kind of like prepare the wall, in other words. And I can't think of anything else, but if you guys do, please let me know. I'm glad you love this, Ladonna. I'm so glad. How did you put, oh, the tins on the ceiling tile? Yes, magnets. Magnets are your best friend. You can get over 100 magnets on Amazon for like $12. And I just got little round, those little just disc magnets that don't cost very much. I stuck them inside the tin and I shut the lid and then just magnetized them to a ceiling tile. I love magnets. I use magnets for so much stuff. They're great. So I think that I've magnetized some other things too around my house, but I love that. I'm sure there's some pieces I missed, but it's so hard to show everything in this apartment. I know I was just looking over here and I was like, oh, I didn't show these. My oil cans are just down here under the spool. So I've just stacked them and put them under the spool for all of you guys that were wondering about that. And to keep them upright, I use magnets so they don't tip over. So that's kind of a trick with those. But I think that's everything, guys. Thank you for tuning in tonight. My gosh, we had 90 of you all here from the Vintage and Vinyl family tonight. Way more than I ever could have dreamed. Just amazing. Thank you all for tuning in. There's still 71 of you here. That just is so awesome to me. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you will save that vintage, spin that vinyl, and binge YouTube. And I will see you all very soon. Bye-bye.